Okay, so I found a few things out. I went ahead and tried launching Indigo by itself earlier, and I did the new material thing, and it started rendering, and once again the program crashed. So I started doing a little bit more digging around, and I decided to basically underclock my processor. My processor was actually overclocked and it was running at about 400 something megahertz on all the cores. So basically, right now I just reset all my BIOS and I underclocked it a little bit. So on average, I believe it's running at 2800 something like that megahertz. You can see the little numbers kind of jumping around right there at this time. So there's Indigo, and it crashed. But now that I've underclocked it, I seem to have been able to pull off a that file materials thing, and it did it without crashing. Now it did max the processors, all the 6 cores, but it did not crash. So I'm thinking it has something to do with either my machine being overclocked or maybe requiring more voltage to run at those higher speeds because it was running at 100% on all the on the load on all of the cores, or maybe it was just overheating at that point because it seems to obviously most computers when they reach a temperature of 90 degrees Celsius, they'll automatically shut down to protect the rest of the system. So maybe that what's going on. I mean, if I want to run my computer at the overclock settings that I had, I mean, they've worked with everything else that I have. Um, but maybe I need to switch to something cooler, like maybe a liquid-based cooling system, or just stick this machine into the other room or something and just turn the air conditioning up high or something. I don't know, but I'm really not sure what's going on. Um, Now, another thing that I've noticed is that uh, this is CPU Z, and it has a section for your graphics cards, diagnostics and stuff, your different like clock readouts, and it kind of right there you can see what at the current speed that my GPU is running, my graphics card. Um, so here's where it gets funny. Okay, so when I'm running a 3D application, for example, this is basically what the speeds should be for my GPU, right? Currently, it is set to, it's running at this speed right there. So let's run iClone. Okay, so now that iClone is engaged, we're going to take a look at the current speed, and you can see, sure enough, that it is running at a higher velocity right there. So that's the current speed, and depending on what I do, like it'll probably jump up and down. Like right now, I'm actually moving stuff around in 3D space. I'm gonna add this scene here. It's working. My fan itself on the computer hasn't changed the velocity of it, so it's still running at a steady speed. Oh, see, there you go. See how the core has switched to that speed right there? All right, so that's the current speed of my GPU, right? So the GPU actually changes depending on whatever graphics it's processing. And now I've turned off iClone. So what I'm going to do is just with Indigo alone, I am going to do that thing with the material. Click New Material. And of course it says that this copy is only licensed to be used as an iClone renderer. Otherwise you'll get some kind of watermark. That's alright. So it starts rendering. At this point, Well, the fan hasn't changed much. I mean, the processor itself is still running at the same speed, underclocked. But look at the load. It is running at 100% load on all cores right there. Okay? Check out the temperature now. The temperature on the different cores is actually rising. It's at 70 degrees, 71, 72. And you can start hearing the fan on the CPU starting to work a little extra. So here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to launch CPU Z, and let's take a look at the current speed for my GPU. So this entire render is not using the GPU at all. So I think the graphics card is actually being wasted. I mean, the graphics card is not being used at all for this render, and all 6 cores are being maxed out. Is that right? I mean, does that sound right to you? I mean, there's obviously some funky stuff going on, right? But it is rendering, and it's not crashing. So any ideas or suggestions, I'm all ears.